Well, especially please stand up.
I know.
You're good.
Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. We're gonna call off the names of your nonprofits that to come up or give us your information. Open there.
Meeting started.
The first one up is Susan Stahl Group Incorporated. Hi, Susan.
Hi.
How are
You
you?
said 2-3 minutes, so they're wrong. I'm Susan Stahl, Girls Inc. Executive Director. And let's see, I'll start. I don't know how you want to pass these out.
Can pass them out if you want, Susan.
Thank you. For those of you who aren't familiar with Girls Inc., our mission is to inspire girls to be strong, smart, and bold. And those translate into programs under categories of healthy living, academic enrichment and support, and life skills instruction. And what we try to do is get the right people, environment, and programs to help girls become healthy, educated, and independent, which makes for a better community. I have handed out a couple of things. I handed out our donor newsletter, which you can look through, but I also handed out our 2025 year in review that has numbers for Ray.
Thank you.
And
I always ask.
you always do, and so I'm prepared. And so you can look through that. I'm not gonna read it to you, but on the back, it shows who we served. And I wanted to break out Jefferson County because we are in 3 counties doing outreach programming. So we served 167 girls at our downtown center. And then we also had 211 Jefferson County girls in our outreach programs. And we do a variety of outreach programs in Jefferson County. We do our Girls Inc. to Go, and you can read about those in the newsletter. And the playground project that we did, we started back up this year, which is during the school day. And those numbers represent unduplicated numbers. And we found that we don't really have a lot of crossover between center-based and outreach. So one of the really important things that we're finding is there are a lot of girls in our county that are never going to come to our center, but they can still benefit from our mission by us reaching out to them. So we just continue to find new and different ways to do that. And we're hoping to expand that again this coming year. And then we also, for those of you who haven't seen our vans rolling around, we do provide transportation after school from Southwestern and Pope John. And then we provide, if needed, transportation home. And we've gone out as far as Lexington to take kids home or pick them up. So if that means they can or can't come to Girls Inc., then we do our very best to make sure that that happens. We had our first alumni gathering this year, so we were really excited about that. We're gonna have another one this fall. And so we're trying to do a better job of engaging our alums. And we have a lot of alums that work for us, which makes me very happy. And then just a reminder, we still do have a mental health advocate on staff. So she is just part-time. We don't provide counseling. That's not what we're interested in doing, but she really focuses on programming for girls, preventative kinds of programming, but also working with girls who are really struggling with some pretty serious issues. So anyway, that I'd be happy to answer any questions. That's kind of Girls Inc. in a nutshell, and you can read through those and see what we've been up to.
All my questions away. Perfect.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
okay, thank you, guys. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Susan.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Scott.
Future reference. I don't know if it has enough numbers for you or not, Ray. I'm really familiar with here. Well, I know numbers. I love numbers, huh?
Heard you were a number.
I love numbers. So I do have a few numbers. Again, I'm representing the 4-H program in the county. We are a unique youth development group that works off of project-based learning and everything. So we're famous for animals and donuts, but there's a lot of other projects and stuff that goes on out there besides the donuts. We did just finish our fair, so I apologize if I look a little tired. We just buttoned everything up on Sunday, so it's been a long month of activity, but for 4-H in Jefferson County, we have about 458 youth that participated this year. That's pretty stable. 4-H in Indiana is kind of declining in a lot of areas, so we're really happy with our numbers. A lot of it comes from the support we get from the community and from the council that allows us to continue to do that. We have 95 adult volunteers, which is growing. And we organize in groups of clubs. We have 14 clubs, and then they come into the fair as our annual event. We did just wrap up the fair. Of the 458, 455 exhibited at the fair, which is a really good percentage. We had over 2,300 projects completed. I think our livestock auction probably gets the most publicity and the most eye-popping numbers. The community, the businesses are really just unbelievable. We sold 183 animals, which was a little bit down, but they brought a total of $511,000, which was really good. That money goes directly to the kids. And again, between the award money that we use we use the county to buy the educational materials. We use it to give awards, and then we do the auction to reward the kids. That's what keeps it growing. They get this, they see it, they get excited, they come back year after year. We also partner with the House of Hope. We gave almost 2,700 pounds of beef, 11,000 pounds of pork, 1,600 pounds of sheep, and 2 goats. And we have an email from John Bush that works with House of Hope, and he said just really without this program that they would really struggle throughout the year. This is kind of a lifesaver for him, and we've been doing this for several years. In addition, we had one of the 4-H kids donate their reserve champion because they couldn't sell it in the auction, and we auctioned it off for the 4-H scholarship of the Community Foundation, and that brought another $15,000 for the Community Foundation scholarship. And we did some building project that I'll talk about just briefly at the end. We do more. The fair is kind of where a lot of local organizations, so I'm sure people come out. A lot of the fundraisers come through the fair, so we try to partner with a lot of different. So the county helps us out a lot with the funding, but also just whenever we have a need, we also try to help the county. There was the tornado that went through. We do have about half of the county's trees on the corner of the property out there. And, when you guys need a meeting and you can't do it in your own facilities, we try to allow that for you. We also partner with everybody else. We have a church group that's putting on a concert this weekend out there as a fundraiser. So wherever we can partner, the House of Hope is part of that we're trying to do. We've worked really closely with the Community Foundation. Besides the fair, the extension office does a lot of other projects. They had a chef university this year where kids went to and learned food science activities. They've done many 4-H camps. They did a master gardener program in all the 3rd grade elementary schools in the county. And then they have their own master gardener program. They donated that food to the House of Hope. So there's just been a lot going on. Finally, we are in the middle of an expansion project. Our fair started here in 1953, and most of our buildings were built within the 10 years after that. So we've been gradually trying to raise money for that. We are working on trying to replace the community building, which is the big building at the front. We're looking at having something that's multi-use, so bigger meeting rooms for people, smaller meeting rooms for people, athletic facilities inside of it. And the Hunt family has donated the kitchen equipment from the old Venture Out Business Center. So we're looking at having commercial type kitchen facilities that are there. Again, that's where we want to provide for the county things that are missing. You've got a lot of things in the city when we provide stuff out of the county for everybody. So we got that going on. We're working with the Bethany Legacy Foundation for some of the initial funding. We should hear back from that shortly, and then we're working on several other grants and stuff to try to get that project moving. I'm not here asking for that, but you've heard about it in other meetings and stuff. So I just wanted to give a little bit more information on our intention. As we're doing those things, those are providing us with funds. So we do appreciate your funds every year. As you know, inflation's been about 30% cumulative since COVID. So our insurance has gone up, everything else is going up, but our asks from our sponsors have stayed the same. And we've used those kind of projects and everything to generate more income. We're not reducing our need from other sources, but we are at least not needing more money from everybody through the rental of facilities and everything that we're doing. We want to continue that with this. That's my 3 to 5 minutes.
I was having bonus meeting flashbacks there for a second. You start talking about inflation, I was like, we're not getting a bonus.
It's the same
I was
message.
like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying go home at the council meeting.
I should have covered this up for you. I know it probably makes you nervous.
It really does. I know what Scott does. Yeah, I know what Scott does. I know what other hat he wears and the time commitment, and for him to be able to throw himself, I know he can't have a lot of extra time, so. Pretty much all of it probably gets ate up in this, and you do good work, and that community center is very beneficial. Anytime we get overflow, it's like, where are we gonna have a meeting? We know we're gonna have a meeting, so it's, the 4-H is a very good thing for this community, and we appreciate your hard work.
I appreciate those comments. The volunteers out there work really, really hard. There's no paid labor, so everybody works really hard. And again, we found out what our capacity of the building is during one of your meetings this year, so we decided we needed more. So again, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
I'd like to add that community building helped bring FunVet to the community as well with low cost spay neuters for cats.
Thank you.
There you go.
Nice little plug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Thank you
all.
Patricia?
Well, I'm not as prepared as everybody else so far has been. So I'm here representing the Friends of the Jefferson County Animal Shelter. We're dedicated to supporting the county shelter and improving the outcomes of the animals in our community. I mean, we're pretty new, but we expanded like really quickly. I mean, you know, like we got a grant right away. For the medical, for the shelter and stuff like that, but there's a couple of other little projects that we're wanting to bring in. We're hoping, you know, just to help us start those projects. We're hoping that we will be able to fund them ourselves, but we need a little help getting them started. Like the request then to establish to be able to help get spay and neuters cheaper for people. Walt's Animal Clinic came in and now are doing low cost spay neuter clinics, but even at their prices, it's still a little high for some of our community. And so we're hoping as friends, we can come in and help even bring that cost down a little bit. Second, we're wanting to host a microchip clinic. We're hoping to get every animal in Jefferson County microchipped by the end of this setup, so that we can get, you know, when the animals come into the shelter, they can get home quicker and not spend as much of the government's money or the county's money on housing them and taking care of them. And then we're also, with that microchipping, we're hoping to set up a outdoor kind of a microskip scanning station to where if someone finds a dog or a cat, they can come to the station if the shelter or vets aren't open, and they can scan the animal. And it'll have like a guidelines of what they need to do if there's a microchip, what numbers they need to call, and they can get the dog home or cat home without even having to come to the shelter, which will help, you know, even save more money and more time. But that one is just, we need to get the box, I guess the outdoor box to put all that in. And once we, you know, like the scanners and stuff like that, the Friends will be covering that stuff. It'll be something we can go on.
Is there, sorry to
That's
interrupt,
okay.
while you're on it, is there another community that's doing the outdoor microchip scanner? The reason why I say that is my background, I go completely to, oh my gosh, privacy. What if I know everybody wants their animals back, but well, I think the worst case scenario is somebody takes somebody's animal to try to contact them and, you know, take it up there, scan it. In fact, I don't know,
Yeah, well-
my mind goes 1,000 different directions.
Yeah, when you agree for a microchip for your
Uh-huh.
animal, you know, you get to determine what information is given out if
Okay.
somebody finds your animal. So you're already checking that off, that you want your name given or your phone number,
Mhm.
but most of the time they just give you a name and a phone number. And that's it.
All right, no addresses
No,
and stuff
no.
like that, okay.
No. Sometimes people will opt for an email instead of a phone number too, so.
Okay.
But usually it's just the name of the animal.
You can tell I don't have my animals microchipped.
But it's the name of the animal. They'll give you a description to make sure it matches the animal that you've got. And then they'll give you usually it's like a first name and a phone number of who to contact. And that's,
Thank
they
you for
even do
answering my
that
question.
at the shelter when I call
Makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Erasing that.
them. Yeah, I mean. Like if I was a pet owner with microchip,
Mhm.
I agree to what information,
Okay.
what's put on,
The
or
privacy state.
given out, yeah.
Gotcha.
And then I'm hoping to partner with the police station and the sheriff's office to have those boxes like placed there and there so that they can kind of be monitored. And then, that's a local point where for after hours stuff anyway, the shelter. There's not gonna be anybody there, but if somebody needed assistance, there might be somebody at police stations that could help them do something. And then finally, I mean, throughout my time as the shelter, being in the shelter, I've always had people ask me, we should establish something in the community to honor our pets. And it has been something that has been thought about and talked about forever. And that was the final ask was just to help us start in the figuring that, to be able to get that out there. There's memorial rocks, memorial signs. We're just wanting to like make an area that's pretty to where we could do this and have people come to reflect, to just to have a place to honor
So,
their loved ones.
I'll question that. So is that where they're going to place their animal or animal ashes?
No.
It's just a memorial.
It's just like maybe a placard.
Mm-hmm,
There's so many ideas that you can use.
mm-hmm. Because I know that we have a pet cemetery up at, I walk by it every day. when I
Yeah.
walk. And it's not, really utilized.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
they
mean,
moved
that
it off
might
of
be.
my property and then they put it on the cemetery's property and it's on the back. Like
Yeah.
when you're standing there, it'd be on the northeast
Yeah,
corner.
we were looking at that or trying to do something around the dog park downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Some places they'll do like their tags off of their dog's collar, they'll just pinch them onto a fence. And it's just another way to honor the pet and be able to come and reflect. But it also kind of shows the community out there, how many how many loved animals there is. But there's a couple things, so these three programs that we're hoping to start will help increase our presence in the community. And hopefully make a bigger difference with the animals of our community. By offering services like the microchip clinic and the spay neuter assistance, we're not only supporting the shelter, but we're also building trust and visibility and engagement to the residents. Together, these initiatives are designed to address both immediate needs and long-term challenges. They improve public safety, reduce strain on county resources, support responsible pet ownerships, increase a positive outcome for the animals in our community. We're just asking for a modest investment, but they'll have a measurable impact on the community.
Well, there's a big difference between, if most of them are microchipped, it may make the difference between the majority of them being there for 48, 72 hours or 24 or a week or
Right.
two before they finally get found.
Yeah.
And room's always gonna be an issue.
And then also on the off chance of that, it also will help me know who's dumping what if they're getting dumped. Cause if I'm have the information of the microchip and they're like, no, that's not my dog.
Sorry that still goes on.
Yeah. The goal is just to try to prevent them from being in the shelter. Like I said before, this is as the shelter, it's the only job I've ever want to be fired from for lack of work.
That's a good way.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Okay,
Brenda.
great. Okay, lifetime resources. Michelle,
Hi,
your day.
sorry, I was not given the proper meeting time, so I apologize for coming in a few minutes late. Thank you for having me, and for all the support you've offered through the years. My name is Michelle Guidis, and I am the Catch a Ride Director, and part of Lifetime Resources. Our executive director, Erin Thomas, apologizes for not being able to be here tonight, but she had a prior engagement. You should have a packet that includes information about our request, our annual report, and some financial information. However, I'll start by telling you a little bit about our organization. Lifetime Resources is one of a statewide network of 16 area agencies on aging, primarily serving older adults, individuals with disabilities, and their caregivers. However, we also operate Catch a Ride, which provides public transportation to anyone for any purpose. in like medical appointments, work, grocery stores, or even visit a friend. Catch a Ride also has contracts with the local sheltered workshop Sandstone and Medicaid, Medicare, managed care contracts as well. So anyone with any form of insurance that would cover non-emergency medical transportation could have their trips covered at no cost. Our main goal is to help people maintain their independence, for many allowing them to stay in their homes where they prefer to be when they may otherwise be facing nursing facility placement. This is accomplished through a variety of services, including personal care, homemaking, home delivered meals, respite for caregivers, and more. We also provide guardianship services, various health and wellness programs, and opportunity for socialization for older adults at our congregate meal sites. And our congregate meal site here in Jefferson County is at the Madison Senior Center. We've recently added 2 new services. The first one is Veterans Directed Care, which gives veterans a flexible, personalized budget to manage their own home and community-based services. So instead of relying on agency assigned care, veterans can hire trusted family members, friends, or neighbors to help with their daily living needs, like bathing, dressing, and meal preparation. The other new service we're offering is structured family care, which compensates family members or legal guardians for providing care for their loved one. I also want to make you aware, there's been a lot of recent changes at the state level. So most area agencies on aging are no longer providing case management for services for the Medicaid waiver populations as of next month. And I wanted to make you aware of that because there's been some rumors going around that Lifetime Resources is closing, which is completely false. We're still here. We're still active. We've got lots of other funding sources, and that was a small piece of what we did. And the funding that we're seeking would be used to match our various federal and state programs, and Medicaid waiver would never require to match anyway. So our annual request won't be impacted. The funding that we receive allows us, the funding sources allows us, we have participants pay for a portion of the cost. For example, there's a fare for transportation or a cost share for the in-home services. Our 2027 request from Jefferson County is for $20,000, which is 1.58% of Jefferson County's $1.3 million budget. As you can see in your letter, our average care plan cost is about $350 a month, and an average stay in a nursing facility per month is over $8,900. So investing in these services now helps prevent more costly interventions later and helps keep folks in their home where they want to be and where care is most cost effective for as long as possible. I thank you in advance for your consideration. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. That's a lot of words.
You explained it very well.
Okay, so if you think of anything, just feel free to reach
Thank you.
out. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hi. So I think most of you know me, I'm Whitney Pennington. I'm one of 3 guardian ad litems here in the state of Indiana, but I'm also the executive director for CASA Jefferson County. And one of our major grant funding sources, the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute, as I'm sure you've heard through probation and the prosecutor's office, has significantly decreased funding specifically for CASA programs. So we used to receive $10 million for 2 years. We're now only receiving 6 million. And that's every CASA program in the state of Indiana that asks for funding through the Victims of Crime Act grant, which we do. So, this year, we just received our grant award letter and we were awarded $85,000 less than what I wrote the grant for. So one of the things that we're asking for is $13,060, which I know is a lot more than I've ever asked for from you guys. But the purpose for that is to go toward payroll, beginning in September of 2027. So that second grant, year, is what that funding would go toward. So in an attempt to mitigate this, as a GAL myself here, I've taken on a lot more cases. I serve a lot more cases, myself. But there have been 94 kids so far in Jefferson County that have had to be rescued, for lack of a better word, from their homes due to abuse and neglect. And our program is the only program that represents these children in court. So one of the things that I did last year was, knowing that this cut was coming, was I started taking on more cases myself. And I ended up implementing a new staff position, a staff advocate. So it's like a paid CASA. And this particular individual can serve up to 30 children at a time. Now, of course, those children are low triage. They're not the ones you're seeing in the news and all that stuff. That's a more high profile case that a person who's serving 30 kids should not be doing. But this funding that we're requesting from you guys is to help sustain that position. As I put in my letter, ICJI is covering the first $30,000 beginning in October for this position, and I've written a grant to National Costa and received an additional $10,000 to pay that for a year. ICJI will then pick up the other $30,000 and $10,000 from you guys, plus the cost of FICA, to cover 2027 to 2028 for that specific position. I don't know if you have any questions or if that was confusing. I mean, the only funding that we're guaranteed at CASA of Jefferson County is state funding. This year we're getting $22,000, and that is low because of the I guess the calculation that our state office uses based on how many child victims are in this community. And so we have that each year that we depend on and can expect. The other piece of that is Judge Moat's budget. He does have set aside $30,000 in his budget each year for us. But outside of those two funding sources, it is me writing grants, hustling, fundraisers, all the things. And so I guess I want to just say also that, you know, if you guys have always been super generous to us, and in looking at all this, and I had a meeting with the judge and I explained to him, you know, I'm not freaking out. Would this amount help us? Absolutely. However, you know, we do have two major fundraisers and we have a lot of community support. And so I just wanted to say, you know, although I'm asking for the 1360, if you guys, you know, after me or before me, speakers need some of this funding more, I respect that. As weird as that is to tell you, I need some money, but it's true. And so I don't know if you have any questions. I mean,
I have one.
yeah.
I don't have my letter pulled up
Okay.
and I can't remember everything, all the details that you
Yeah.
put in it. You mentioned 94 children have been rescued. Is that a to-date number for
Yes.
this year, right?
Yes, this year. Yes, that's correct. That is correct.
How many do you average per year?
Around 200. So at this juncture, it's right on par. Because we don't only serve those kids that need court intervention. That's 94 kids that need court intervention, that need the Department of Child Services to step in and keep them safe. We also serve other forms of cases where the DCS has a written contract with the parent, which, you know, a parent is willing to work with the Department for Services, and coercive intervention of the court is not necessary. So this letter and that number 94 does not include those types of cases. And then, of course, you know, there are times where, I mean, there are children in our community in private cases, you know, that I serve that are equally, and I know that that's not CASA's thing and all the things, but, I don't think that I've ever shared with you guys before that I do represent children in cases outside of the CHIN's cases as well. And it's just a lot of kids. It's awful. So total with this decrease in funding from the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute, we are at a deficit of $44,100. So the 1360 would go toward that. And then the difference, like I said, would be made up by probably no other grant sources, probably fundraising, which we do, you know, and so yeah, that's where that's at. And then if you don't, does anyone have any questions? Okay, I just also, while I had the opportunity, wanted to let you know that in the work that I do and in the underbelly of the work that I do, I just wanted you to know that there are a lot of children and families out there that are desperately waiting for the services that Caroline's Corner has to offer. I just wanted to advocate for that. I've taken a tour. I don't know if you have. I highly recommend that you do. It is a very needed service that does not exist anywhere nearby. But what Beth McRoberts is doing and what her vision is going to burn the candle at both ends in terms of what CASA is doing and what she's doing. So I don't know, that's just my version of that, but I just wanted to, I felt compelled to let you know that there are a lot of children and families that desperately need to work with Caroline's Corner. So,
Whitney.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that you and I talked earlier this year that, at that point, I think it was like late spring, all of the children actually had volunteers.
right.
Is that the first time that's ever happened?
It's not the first time it's ever happened. However, there was a 4-year period of time where we could not keep up. We would assign the community members to represent these children, and then sibling sets of 5, 7, you know, 1 kid, 2 kids. So, you know, kids are always coming into the system. However, since the time that you and I spoke, and I shared with you that every child that is assigned to our program, which is every child that is assigned to the Department of Child Services, has an advocate, that is still true today.
That's just
That is
remarkable.
so
And that speaks to your ability to get out and encourage people to be volunteers. And have the cases went down, or the volunteer,
Yeah.
both, or is it both? Volunteerism up or cases down, or a little bit of both?
I think our volunteerism is high at this point.
That's just wonderful.
We have volunteers waiting to serve kids, like 2, maybe at this point. We had a larger list, which was unheard of. The state office was just blown away that I told them that, but the CHIN's numbers are a little bit low right now too. That will definitely go up in August, you know, when eyes are back on the kids.
I think it speaks to the people of Jefferson County too, the kind of folks we got here. It's just an amazing thing.
I say that all the time. This county absolutely has our back. You know, being a CASA or being in this role isn't for everyone. No one wants to look at photos of children that have been abused or neglected. We'll do it. Okay, we'll do it. And we'll show up and we'll make the difference and we'll fight in court every day if you'll just support us. You know what I mean? So I think everybody fits in somewhere, and we're happy to have whomever, wherever that's at. So thank you for your extra questions. So any questions?
Takes a village.
It totally takes a village. We've got 32 CASA volunteers, a board of 12, and then 5 staff. So
You got a great board too.
we do have a great.
Our council's talked about how impressed we are with how you're staffing, low staffing rate, you know, overall low budget, yet the volume of kids you serve because of the amazing work you do in the volunteers.
Thank you.
Obviously, sometimes it's not in comparison to other not-for-profits, it may be apples to oranges for sure, but
Yeah,
we've been extremely impressed.
thank you.
Helene, you and your organization.
I appreciate that very much. And you know, just for what it's worth, the state office of CASA GAL, I mean, they say time and time again that there's a CASA program in nearly every county of the state of Indiana. And apparently we are what they want those to look like. So it's pretty awesome. It's super humbling. It's just, you know, we're doing it right. We're doing it right. And we couldn't do it without this community, you know? So. Thank you guys.
Keep up the good work.
Hey, Dustin. Boys and Girls Club.
An extremely hard act to follow, for sure. Good evening, County Council and Commissioners. I didn't bring a handout. I've learned that lesson now. Next year, bring a nice handout for you guys. But I do have some numbers I want to share before I get into our ask. Our 2025 membership at the Boys and Girls Club of Jefferson County was 935 unique youths that we served in the county. So far for 2026, we're over 780. So we're hoping to see that 1,000 number kind of eclipse this year. That's our goal. For sports so far this year, we've served 200 unique individuals through our various sports programs. And two of those I'm most proud of is last fall, we started flag football back after years of our county not having flag football. We kind of threw that together. This is my year anniversary today. When I walked in the door, we threw it together in about a month and had flag football going. We served 40 kids in that last year. We're hoping to double that number. We're already at 20 signups now for this year moving forward. We got signups out early. And then I think what I'm most proud of is that we offered free T-ball in the community in the county this year. We served 95 youths in our county to free T-ball, 3 through 6 year olds. So introducing T-ball, teaching them the love of the sport, everything you can learn through baseball. That's something I'm super proud of. We hope to keep doing. We hope to keep offering the free T-ball in the summer, much to the chagrin of my board. They weren't happy about the free T-ball, but you know, nothing should be free, but we were able to do that. And we're super proud of that. That kind of lands me here today. As you can see in the write-up that I presented, that I hope you have, is a gym remodel. The gym remodel kind of landed in my lap when I started. Prior administration has started that. I took the ball and ran with it. We've been able to raise some money. We've asked for some grants. What's not in the write-up that I've learned since I presented the write-up is that Bethany Legacy came to us with a matching grant. So starting last week, I have a year to raise $100,000 and they will match that $100,000 to help us do our gym renovations. So any money you decide to award us will be doubled through Bethany Legacy. I think just the best thing I can tell you guys is the impact of the Boys and Girls Club is to look at somebody like me. I get teary-eyed when I say it, and I got this guy sitting right here next to me, but the Boys and Girls Club, I grew up in the club. My first job was 14 years old behind the counter down at the old West 2nd Street Boys and Girls Club. Ray made me work for free for a couple of years. But I mean, the impact,
50 cents an hour.
yeah, the impact that it made on me as a young kid to go to college, get an education, come back, serve the community in this role. It's been a dream job, and that's what I hope I instill on the kids that are there now. This summer, we brought in a great group of teenagers, Maylee Skinner, Zane Skinner, you know, the Skinners. And that's kind of what we got back to. We're getting back to our roots. They'd gotten away from hiring teens in the past. They wouldn't hire by under 18, but we're trying to get teens in the door, train them, let them see the impact that they're making on kids daily, and hope that we kind of build the wheel of coming back to Madison and serving the community and serving the county. So if you have any questions, I'll take them. I tried to keep it short and sweet. When they told me 3 minutes, I really worked hard on keeping it 3 minutes for you guys. So I could talk all night if you need me to.
So one comment, he's starting up flag football last year, the national championship starting in Indianapolis tomorrow.
I saw that. My son wrestled in Puerto Rico, and I picked him up at the airport last week, and I saw the whole Indianapolis airport's decked out for the U.S. Flag Football Championships at Grand Parks.
So did you say the Bethany Legacy will double whatever we?
Up to $100,000. I mean, if you want to give me $100,000, don't match that whole lot. Anything you give me, they will double the, yes. Yeah, I just found that out after I presented everything to you guys. I found that out late last week, so.
Is there a timeline? Is that just throughout the year?
I have till next July.
Till next July.
Yeah, so my goal was originally to have that construction going this fall, between like the end of our summer programming and fall, but it's gonna delay it, and that's fine if we can get it done right, and,
Mhm.
you know, we'll do what we can, so. All right, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Joby Wilson, Habitat for Humanity.
Hi, I'm Shelby with Habitat for Humanity of Southeast Indiana. We're actually just right down the street, so it was a very short drive for me. For the past 30 years, Habitat for Humanity has been building strength, stability, and self-reliance through affordable homeownership here in Jefferson County. Our mission is simple. We partner with local families, volunteers, and community organizations to help hardworking families achieve the dream of safe, decent, and affordable homeownership. The impact of our homeownership extends far beyond providing a roof over someone's head. Studies consistently show that children who grow up in stable housing are more likely to succeed in school, and families who own affordable homes are better able to build financial stability, improve their health, and invest in their futures. Homeownership creates stronger neighborhoods, increases community investment, and provides families with an opportunity to build generational wealth. Today, it costs Habitat around $200,000 to build a single home, while our volunteers contribute about 1,000 hours on each home. To keep costs down, land acquisition and building costs remain some of our biggest challenges. We are currently working with a private developer and the city of Madison on the Madison Woods project. We're optimistic about the opportunity. The developer is either going to donate property to us or give it to us at a discounted cost. So what we're asking for is to help us either purchase that property or build on that property. Do you guys have any questions for me?
About how many homes do you build per year?
We are building one home per year right now. We're like this close to getting to 2.
And
Just
where
get
is
there.
that located again, that property that you're purchasing?
Madison Woods will be,
Behind Walmart?
yes, behind Walmart
Thank
and
you.
Lowe's. So it'll be more accessible for any homeowners there to meet their needs with Walmart and just walking down Clifty Drive too if they don't have transportation.
What percentage of, money that, you receive from the national organization?
We don't receive any money from Habitat International. We have to pay them to be a Habitat affiliate. Yes.
Pretty good gig.
Yeah. Yes, they do have a pretty good.
All right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're
Did,
good.
did you say 1,000 hours per home that the volunteers put in?
Just about, yes.
Boy, you think about paying craftsmen per hour, what that, I mean, you'd be looking at another 50 grand easy.
Yes, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's around $35,000 to $40,000 per home that we save based on the volunteers' national average of pay. Savings.
How big is your staff in Jefferson County?
So we only have one full-time office staff, that's me. And then we have one construction staff member, and then we have 4 staff members in the Restore. The Restore used to be a really good income for us. We are about half of what we had 5 years ago, yearly average in the Restore. I think the economy is changing. Not a lot of people are investing in their homes because they can't. In our main demographic in the Restore are usually trying to find a deal. I think even our deals aren't good enough for them because of all of the other expenses that they're having to make up for right now.
What's your average square foot of the house you build?
1,200, yes.
The most recent, I believe was your most recent the cul-de-sac, close to you, close to
Yes.
the resort, yes.
Yes.
I think that was your most recent build. I got
Yes.
to tour through there. I thought there were one or two more lots right by there that were kind of next. So this interest in this property is that it's available. The current owner wants to support you and seeing that you get it. So obviously this acquisition could potentially be for many future years down the road.
Yes, I believe that the deal with the developer in the city was 10 properties over the next 5 years for Habitat. We still have 3 plots in the Cliffy Woods subdivision that we're finishing up. If all of the budget aligns and we get the fundraising that we want to, I would love to be finishing up Cliffy Woods and start on Madison Woods at the same time, hopefully getting us to 2 homes a year.
What's the size of those parcels?
I don't know right off the top of my head. I will say small backyards, but they're still having a little bit of a backyard.
It's just amazing to think that $200,000, the materials it costs, even before you get into the cost of labor,
200
for a
is
house, for a 1,200.
including labor.
Pretty good sized house, but wow, $200,000.
Yeah, so we're at about 130 in materials, and then the rest of that is to cover staffing just to build.
In the last 5 years, how much has changed in materials? I bet it's 30-40%.
It's insane. Every year it keeps going up more and more. I would say 5 years ago we were building houses for 70,000. So it's a lot different.
Wow.
Yeah. Any more questions? Okay, thank you guys.
Shannon Perry.
So first, hello, I'm Shannon Perry. I'm actually the Director of Community Outreach for the Children's Advocacy Center, Southeastern Indiana. Our Executive Director, Sarah Brichto, was unable to attend today, so I get the pleasure of coming in and talking to you guys. I do recognize first that there may be some questions that I can't answer, so I apologize in advance, but I will do my very best to answer anything that you may have to the best of my ability. So the first thing I do want to pass around, if that's okay, is we are having an open house. We would love for you guys to stop down to see our building and see the services that we provide. It is on July 29th. I'm sorry that I'm just tossing those right in front of you.
That's fine.
In front of you guys. So I just wanted to take a moment and, obviously invite you guys to that. So all the information is on there for you. And I do want to talk a little bit about what we do for the children and the families here in Madison. So it's one of our greatest pleasures to be part of this community. So I know that Sarah's funding request is for support of the forensic interviews as well as the supporting for families through advocacy work as well. And what our CAC does is we aid in the prevention, detection, and investigation of child abuse and neglect. So what exactly does that mean? So when we talk about prevention, that part is we do adult trainings and education that's throughout the community. That covers like our mandated reporter training, recognizing and reporting abuse. We teach that to school staff. We teach it, we've partnered with CASA, and I teach that to them for free. It's one of my greatest partnerships. Being able to really help support the children in our community is being able to know how to handle those types of disclosures, right? So we also have our school-based education program. It's evidence and research-based, and we have been partnered with Madison Consolidated with a great partnership through them as well. And that's through kindergarten through 12th grade. And then the detection and investigation part. So we conduct forensic interviews on children where there are believed to be allegations of abuse or neglect. Not only with that, we also will do forensic interviews on anybody that's looking like if there's any safety concerns. If a child has witnessed a death or any type of investigation where there could be criminal charges. That's why we're there. So we are there on behalf of the child. Our job is not to get a disclosure. Our job is to sit with them and to advocate for them in a space where we can handle the disclosure, if they're ready to disclose that part. It is obviously a very specialized field that we are in. It is extensive training that our forensic interviewers have to go, and they're also child abuse experts. So our main goal at the CAC is we do want them to just be interviewed one time, but we also want to make sure that we can testify on behalf of that child. So in hopes that they don't have to take the stand. It's not always the case, but that's our hope. That's why we audio and visually record it and work with our multidisciplinary team, which Madison has one of our favorites. They're phenomenal in supporting these kids. So we also provide those support services that I had mentioned. Ours is a little bit different than CASA because we offer the families if they want that support. So, they can tell us no. We try to do a follow-up with them just to check in. As you can imagine, we are the first step, and sometimes with that trauma and them just navigating the information, it can be overwhelming. So, we do offer that. But one of our jobs that our advocates does, as soon as the family walks in, one, they're greeted, and we try to make them feel safe and at home, offering them any type of support services. If they are in need of anything, we can connect them through community partners, through all of our resources, through Jefferson County, which is amazing. The Madison office is fully staffed now. We have one forensic interviewer and one child and family advocate on site full-time. We are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there's been many holidays that we've been here, especially Christmas, New Year's Eve, anytime our law enforcement, prosecutors, or Department of Child Services calls us, we're at the ready to go in and listen to those stories. And just to give you some numbers, we finished out 2025 with 121 interviews. 55 of those forensic interviews were sexual abuse based. And then since the inception of the CAC in 2009, we had 1,851 forensic interviews with 1,056 of those being sexual abuse cases. This is another position I would love to work myself out of a job, but unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. So I will do my very best to answer any questions if you guys have them.
I have a question. Allocation of your request would be specifically going towards, remind me, what would that be going towards? Just budget? Or-
So I am a little nervous to answer because I know that when she had placed it in here, I do have it in front of me. It's for the forensic interviewing and the advocate support.
Thank you.
And it states secure recording equipment. Is there, I know those interviews are being recorded now. Is there new equipment needed?
I'm not specifically sure, and I apologize for not having that answer. I do know that with the equipment that we have to do, it is exceptionally, there's constant updates. Our servers have to be FBI grade, Homeland Security grade, because it's the way it's stored. So it could be something like that. I just don't want to misspeak on that, so I do apologize for not being able to.
Would you have someone follow up with us?
Yes.
So
yes.
we can,
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, not a problem.
You work with any other schools?
Yeah, I'm actually in 32 school buildings across 6 counties. And I want to tell you, there's 2 of us, myself and another person, so it's truly a blessing.
Your office only has 2 full-time?
Mhm.
Okay,
Outreach department. Mhm.
okay. Overall, I mean,
Mhm.
and then the rest are volunteers?
So we have a total of 10, well, just now 10 staff.
Okay,
So there's a forensic interviewer and an advocate at every single office.
okay.
And we have 3 offices. myself and then another girl, we are the outreach prevention department. So, and we cover our region. As you guys know, being in our southeastern Indiana region, it's tricky. It's so rural and there's not many
Construction.
people. And there's not many people that can cover that, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Matt, Jefferson County has three, I know the budget, and this is certainly, we see this sometimes with other, like lifetime resources that may serve multiple counties. It's certainly, A-okay when budgets may be all encompassing. We obviously love to see some hard numbers for this county, number served, number of staff. You know, for example, it's almost $650,000 in staff, cost and salaries. So obviously, I don't know how many staff do we have here in Jefferson County?
That's the forensic interviewer and the advocate.
Okay,
That's
just
here.
the two
Mhm.
FTEs here in Jefferson County.
Yes, no.
Obviously, people who support this. county.
Correct, yes. So a lot of us, and I say, I mean, we do have, like I said, the full staff, but because we are serving 600 roughly a year annually between our three offices, we are always having to go where we're needed. So unfortunately, Madison is our busiest center. They're the busiest one that we have. And it's been that way since I've started 7 years ago.
So how many damaged children do we get in Jefferson County roughly
So
per year?
per year, the reports that were on here is we had 121 that we served from January to December for 2025. Yeah.
And I'm assuming the prosecuting attorney would go after anybody that's damaging those children.
So that's one of the reasons we have the forensic interviews, because when they contact us, we're working to help get some corroborating evidence if the child is ready to disclose. And when we're talking about child abuse cases, and I know Whitney can definitely speak on this too, they're one of the most difficult to prosecute, right? Because it's he said, she said. So our hope is for best practice is that the interviews come to us. And I will tell you, Jefferson County is one of our best counties for that. Yes.
Thank you for what you do.
Oh, it is an absolute pleasure that we get to do it. It's
It's
not
a
always
shame. It is
easy.
a shame. There's so many groups that are tending to traumatize children, but well, yeah, what we do if you guys weren't there.
Well, I tell you what, you know, it's such an amazing thing to witness through our multidisciplinary teams, you know, like Whitney was saying, you know, we are the first interaction. So is DCS. So I'm not trying to discredit anybody, but I can't do my job in the schools without DCS. And then DCS can't get their job with prosecution and law enforcement without our interviews. And then I know Whitney's crew is gonna step in
And then they need an advocate when
Yeah.
they go to court.
and then hopefully with our best facility, that'd be another great support. Takes a village.
Thank you. So the open house is the 29th.
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
Well, anytime you want to come in for a tour, all you guys gotta do is just let me
okay.
know.
What's your name again?
I'm Shannon Perry.
Okay, so I'm going to be speaking with somebody, Sarah, been talking to
Yes.
Sarah.
Yeah, that's the executive director.
Okay, so I will be reaching out to you guys.
Yeah.
To come down and
Would love that.
visit with you guys. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you.
Hey, Chelsea, no, say Patsy.
Yes, hi, I am not Chelsea. Chelsea was not able to make it tonight. And our executive director, Carrie, wasn't able to make it either. So you have Fran and I. My name is Kim Bowman and I oversee our direct services at Safe Passage.
And I'm Fran Edwards and I do the prevention and community news services of Safe Passage.
So if you're not familiar, we provide domestic and sexual violence services. Jefferson County is one of the counties that we serve. We do have a residential shelter, which is located in Ripley County that serves the entire 6-county region that we serve. And we are a 20-bed facility. Now in 2025, we served 21 residential clients, including 11 children who stayed at our Batesville shelter for a total of 837 nights, which was actually a 117% increase over bed nights from Jefferson County in 2024. So these were families that were actively fleeing domestic violence that needed to come to our secure facility. We're actually updating our security system as we speak this past week. And we do have multiple layers of security. We are located next to the police department and work very closely with them to make sure that the families coming in are safe at all times. With that being said, the bulk of the clients that we serve are out in our communities. So we do have an office at the clearinghouse. We have a full-time case manager who is there 40 hours a week. We also have a prevention staff member who is based out of our Jefferson County office as well. And they work with the clients of Jefferson County. We worked with 61 non-residential clients through mobile advocacy services last year. We also logged 168 calls on our 24-hour crisis line that were just specific to Jefferson County, just individuals in crisis, in domestic violence, or they've recently experienced perhaps a sexual assault that are in need of services. We have on call 24 hours a day. We actually have 2 staff on call at all times. So we respond to all of the hospitals in our service region. So if someone presents in the emergency room and they're the victim of a crime, they can call for a victim advocate, and we have staff that will respond 24 hours a day. Because we just strongly believe no one should be alone after they've had an experience like that. They should have somebody with them during that time to provide that support. All of our services are free of charge. Our clients, whether they're in shelter or mobile advocacy, will never pay a penny for any of the services that we provide. We do a lot of safety planning. We offer a lot of case management where we assist with employment, housing. We are in the process of developing more housing partnerships. We're trying to work with different landlords who are interested in helping some of our families to get housed again after they've gone through a domestic violence experience that's caused them to lose their housing. We feel very strongly that they shouldn't have to leave their home community, that if they want to return, even if they've had to come into our shelter for a short time, we want to be able to help them to accomplish that. So a lot of the work that we do really is ongoing safety planning. We will go to court, we do court accompaniment, we work closely with all the prosecutors in the 6 counties that we serve. We will accompany them during mediations or divorce hearings, just whatever it is that they need at that time. And again, it's really about serving those victims of crime to make sure that they feel that they're heard, that they're validated, that they have that support.
And then I can speak a little bit to the prevention side. So as Kim mentioned in shelter, so if Jefferson County families are coming into shelter, our prevention team works with them in the children room. And our whole focus there is just building protective factors and increasing safety, but also building like a really good relationship with them. In the community, we do have a full-time prevention staff member who is also housed in the clearinghouse, who does a lot of the school and community programs. So this summer, her time has been spent at the Boys and Girls Club, the Girls Inc., also in some neighboring places and counties. But in the schools, we do all of the 2nd grade and elementary schools with Madison Consolidated Schools. We do their middle school at the 7th and 8th grade level. And then in sophomore year, they get bystander intervention training. So it's recognizing what does abuse look like in relationships, online, with our peers, in person. What do we do when it's a stranger that we don't know? How do we pick up on those warning signs and then step in with our safety as number one in mind? And then we also hit on the foundational, like what is sexual abuse? What is sexual assault? What does that look like? And how can we help in those manners too? I said that was Madison Consolidated Schools. We also do programming at Southwestern with their seventh grade, eighth grade, and I believe they're freshmen. On just general, like what is healthy, what is unhealthy, a lot of that primary prevention focus.
We also try and bring trainings to the community. We work closely with law enforcement. We brought a training this past year from the Gabby Petito Foundation. And it was a training for first responders, you know, responding to a domestic violence situation. We go into the women's prison. We do programming there twice a month. We've recently started a partnership with JCAP to go and do some education in the local jail. So again, we're really just trying to have that strong presence in Jefferson County and make sure that everyone knows how to access services should they ever need them. We are also one of those agencies that would love to go out of business, put ourselves out of business. We are also experiencing some of the cuts from the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute. We have been planning for that for some time. So we have a slight increase in our ask, but we also know other agencies you know, need the funds as well, and we've been able to do some other fundraising, so that's why it's not as much as maybe could be. So not to say we don't need it, and we would appreciate anything that you can give.
Yeah, I noticed in your listed income with the basic budget provided, there, I assume this was a fundraising event, it just says individual event, it's $93,000.
We do a lot of fundraising, yeah, we
That
have
was not one big gala or fundraising event.
no.
That's just, I'm raising in general.
Yeah, we have 2 or 3 big fundraisers that we do now a year, and
And none in Jefferson County?
We have one, it's support with a fork.
Okay.
So that is one where you can purchase a meal and proceeds go to us and it's kind of a drive-through or delivery.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I think North Madison Christian Church, a women's group, they're partners with you on that.
I believe so, yeah.
Yes.
yeah, we have an amazing volunteer group, and they help us with our fundraising.
My daughter-in-law is a domestic violence counselor. She's done that since she's been out of school. And I asked her, I said, aren't you a little concerned? Because some of these men are just, they're animals. They're just animals. And I said, aren't you concerned about your safety? And I asked my son, aren't you concerned? And she said she feels absolutely safe. She's never felt anything but safe at these shelters. And she said, as far as the women that are there, she said law enforcement has zero tolerance for anything, any threats at these facilities where these ladies go to find safety and shelter. So she said, I feel perfectly safe there and working there. And she, you know, she enjoys the work. So.
Yeah, we take a lot of precautions. We are definitely more concerned in our community-based settings than we are, you know, in our shelter location. But with that being said, we have a lot of safety measures in place. But the safety planning is definitely ongoing from, you know, prior to them leaving to the point that they leave to the after.
Yeah. So the housing and employment assistance, is that for the guardian of the child?
Well, it's for the family, so to
family.
help the family, yes. So we serve a lot of single parents that come in with their children. So one of the ways that we try and assist is that we write grants. So we can assist with like deposit and first month's rent. You know, for family exiting our shelter that we secure housing, but they just maybe haven't had enough time to save for that first large amount. So we will potentially cover that. So that's one way that we assist, because we know one of the biggest barriers for somebody leaving, and one of the biggest reasons they will go back is financial, because they just can't make it on their own. So we try and eliminate some of those barriers.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
There's another, like you said, there's another occupation which you're out of business.
Yeah. Yes, and with the cuts, we're blessed. Our community is incredibly generous and committed to these services, so we're in a good place overall. But I can tell you, we only had 26 residential facilities to serve all of the counties in our state for domestic violence survivors. And many of them are now shifting completely to mobile advocacy. They will be closing the residential piece because they can't financially keep it. I mean, residential is expensive. We all know that. And so we are blessed that we can keep our doors open for the ones that, you know, in the middle of the night, they need a safe place to go. And so we're committed to trying and keep that peace.
Do you ever get any stories where the man realizes he did wrong and he's just determined to rehabilitate and there's gonna be change? I don't know if you get involved in any of that stuff where there's a happy ending where families can stay together and there's realization of wrongdoing.
Well, there's programs, we don't provide those, but there are programs for the individuals who commit the acts of domestic violence. So, you know, I would hope that is the outcome. We definitely have some that go back, that reconcile, and, you know, get to a point where maybe it's more safe than what it was, you know, previously. But with that being said, the bulk of our clients don't return. And, you know, in our database, I mean, we do enter client data, we can see the ones kind of reoffending. Like we may serve that we're like, wow, he's abused 3 others before we got this one. And we can kind of see that information. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, Beth McRoberts, Caroline's Corner.
We've already heard good things about you.
I'm Beth McRoberts, and I just have to say that I'm so blessed to be here and, that all of these amazing people who've already spoken are doing such good work. And I'm excited to partner with a lot of them. So thank you for inviting me to speak with you tonight. This is Colleen Sutton. She's our board president. And again, I'm Beth. I'm Caroline's mom. I'm also the director of Caroline's Corner. We're a registered 501c3 nonprofit, and we were just incorporated in December of 2025. And we founded Caroline's Corner following the death of our daughter. She was 11, and she passed away in December 2024 after a 7-year battle with brain cancer. We also opened the Madison Pediatric Wellness Center, which my husband, Dr. McRoberts, owns. And it's an independent pediatric practice with 4 providers. We started both of these initiatives out of a deep desire to give back to a community who stood with us when our daughter was sick, and out of a firm commitment to the idea that children deserve the very best medical and mental health care possible. Jefferson County is currently classified as a mental health desert, meaning that we are well below the national average for mental health providers per resident. Additionally, there is no dedicated facility that serves children for mental health in Jefferson County. Our vision for Caroline's Corner is for a holistic hub of pediatric services. Some of those services, our main core focus is going to be on providing mental health therapy, to include play therapy or talk therapy for adolescents in an age appropriate setting and environment, in a place where they are comfortable and with staff and with therapy services that are tailored to them. Other services that we are working to provide are nutrition and cooking classes. We're partnering with the Madison Community Grocery Project to have a community share garden put in this fall, and they'll be offering nutrition cooking classes at our facility. We also are working to partner with an area organization to provide one-on-one fitness coaching for children. Particularly, Dr. McRoberts works with a lot of children who are experiencing obesity, and a lot of those kids have been bullied for many reasons, and so going to a gym facility is difficult, right? And so we are working to help bring them one-on-one fitness services in order to then have a warm handoff to a gym once they're comfortable to be able to do that on their own. We also plan on offering yoga and mindfulness classes. We have established a contract with an organization called Gleaners to Go, which is a food pantry. They're based out of Indianapolis, and we will be serving starting mid to late August. We will be starting with 20 families on a bi-monthly basis to provide food services for them. So it'll be online where they can go and it's like going to the Walmart click list or the Kroger click list, but it's for the food pantry, and they can choose from a variety of foods that are available in different categories and shop online from what the food pantry has available, and then pick up at our facility completely free of charge. And then we also want to incorporate other holistic things such as art and music that we know are very healing for children. We learned so much from our daughter about what children need when they're going through difficult circumstances, whether it's medical, emotional, or social. One of the things that helped her tremendously was receiving care at a child-friendly institution with wraparound services. She received her care at Cincinnati Children's. This type of environment typically only exists in a larger city such as Cincinnati. But children in our own community also deserve access to excellent care. So our focus is on helping children and families feel welcome and comfortable in an environment and with interventions that are tailored to their needs. Pam has come for a tour of our facility, and I would invite any of you to come and see what my husband has accomplished with me with the pediatric clinic. We did a great big renovation and really focused on making it child friendly. And our vision is to bring that same warm environment to the mental health facility. The Caroline's Corner will be operating out of the back half of Madison Pediatric Wellness Center, subleasing the space. And we've applied for a grant from Bethany Legacy to renovate and build out that space. What we are asking for from county council is to help supplement salary for our first mental health therapist. We have an individual who has agreed to, they've signed a contract with us to provide those services. We're working on the credentialing process. It takes a long time, several months from start to finish, for insurance companies to credential a provider. So it's kind of a complicated process, too much for me to explain right now. But we're hoping to have them start in January, and then our goal is to increase our number of mental health therapists to 3. And as Whitney mentioned, and as I believe it was Shannon with the CAC, there is no shortage of need here in this community for children who are going through the worst of the worst. And we're so grateful to them for being on the front lines of providing those services. But those kids also need ongoing care, right? And so our goal is to do that. So the bulk of the salary and benefits for our therapists will come from insurance reimbursement. But we also recognize there are some families that may not have insurance for mental health services or are underinsured. We anticipate that 60% of our clients will have Medicaid insurance, which consistently reimburses at a very low rate that won't meet the needs for salary for a qualified therapist. And So we see that on the pediatric health side. You know, we serve all kids at the Pediatric Wellness Center and are committed to that. And we don't turn anyone away because they can't pay. But we also know that there's so many families that that is a struggle. Through partnerships with area organizations, like I've already mentioned, and hard work to bring this vision to life, we hope for a future for Jefferson County where children will have stronger coping skills, the ability to advocate for their needs, and the capability to make good choices for themselves and their futures, and to know that the community supports and values not just their physical health and but also their mental health as well. Thank you for your consideration. Does anyone have any questions for me?
And I'll just make a comment. It is so impactful what you're doing for the community. Because I, was a child that grew up in that, and it would be wonderful for kids to have a counselor, somebody there to go and talk to, even if that, they're out of that situation. There's ramifications throughout their life that they have to deal with. And if they don't have those services, it can be a struggle the rest of their life. They can hide it. There's just a lot of different things.
And so many children who are gone through traumatic circumstances who haven't had the appropriate interventions, we know that oftentimes they'll turn to other coping skills like drugs or alcohol. And you all see that on a daily basis here in our county, what a problem. My hope is, and what I saw with my daughter, what made such a difference for her was learning to advocate for herself and for what she needed through some of those wraparound services that Cincinnati provided, and I will just say through me supporting her to speak up for what she needed. So she went from a kid who had to be held down to have report access to a kid who could tell me, Mom, I just need a minute to breathe and to hold my squishy, and then I'll be okay to get my blood draw. And I'm sorry, I want that same level of self-advocacy for children, because it makes a big difference. And thank God, not every child is gonna face what my child faced. Not every family is gonna face what my family faced, but there are lots of children who are struggling in this community and who need help. And it's my honor to take her memory and make something good out of it. So, thank you.
Your daughter will be very proud of you. I want you to think about, I'm always impressed by people that go through something horrifying, the loss of a child, and instead of just giving up on life, they are driven by that incident to do good. You're gonna help thousands of kids because of this terrible thing you went through, because you're channeling it in a positive and productive and good way. And you're gonna be a benefit to a lot of kids. You're gonna be a benefit to a lot of kids. I hate that this was the driving force,
Me too.
but you're gonna
Yes.
You're gonna do it. You are doing it. You're gonna do a ton of good, and how proud would your daughter be of you?
And I just want to say, I know obviously we're a new startup, so, I don't have the numbers that everyone else has, to present to you. I have a vision and a passion, to help children, and I know the need that's out there. Not just what's identified here by Whitney and by Shannon, but also through the kids that we serve at the Pediatric Wellness Center. I know that there are kids who are having many times having to drive to Louisville to seek services, or Columbus, or wherever it is, and that's just not feasible for many families. And it also, I feel, doesn't speak to what our community should value. our community should show that we value children's health and, mental health. And, so I also know that kids are comfortable coming to, the Pediatric Wellness Center and having them be able to come to Caroline's Corner, which is in the same building, is they're already coming to a place where they feel, comfortable and welcome. And, that also makes a really big difference. So, any other questions?
I just have one, the pediatric side. Are you able to tell us how many, I know, but how many patients that your load is?
Yeah. So I don't, we've been open for 8 months now, really probably only 6, which has been, no, sorry, I take that back. Time is flying. We've been full-time really since January, so 7 months. And we see, it varies between 50 and 70 patients a day, at the clinic. And I don't know the firm numbers on how many of those are in need of mental health services, but
But you can imagine, like, we were talking, basically 6,000 kids in
yes.
one.
Yes, we are the only pediatric provider in Madison, the only one within, I think, 30 or 40 miles. And so,
So that's where I was like leading there, because if you're saying have that many patients potentially in a year to wellness checks,
yes,
whatever, you can factor in or maybe estimate how many of those children need services.
what I know is that we won't ever be able to meet the full need of the services of children's mental health needs. We will meet every need that we possibly can. But the need is great. And, so our goal of having 3 full-time mental health, therapists, I think that won't even meet the need for what children deal with in this community. But our hope is that we can raise up a generation that is stronger and more resilient, as a result of this. So
If we help the kids now, we won't have,
Yes.
we
We'll put
won't have
everybody else out of
damaged.
business.
We won't have damaged people, harming their spouse or ending up in jail or on drugs. So this is an investment.
Yes.
This is a social investment.
And another aspect of what we're doing is working on family resiliency as well. And so like those cooking classes that I mentioned, the mindfulness classes, we're also be offering other educational classes for parents. And those sorts of things help to bring families together and increase family connection, which I think is also very important for decreasing some of those other problems that are we're facing. So, and we look at it from a whole child perspective.
We have children, juvenile diabetes, and that is such a huge thing for those kids. And it would be nice to have a place for them to go, to have services, so that they understand that they have to, this is a must.
Yeah.
What we do today impacts our health later on, and we won't be losing our vision or limbs or if we take care of ourselves today.
Yeah.
And it's better today than it was 10, 15 years ago. And there wasn't such a stigma on those kids. But still yet, I think that income or the pressures of other students, I mean, I'm just thinking of one class of kids, kiddos that have, needs, medical needs that makes them feel different, and they shouldn't feel different. So.
And I also just want to say one more thing is that I think that every investment into programs like this makes Jefferson County a more desirable place to live and to work. Yeah, obviously, we're trying to attract young professionals to Jefferson County. We're actively looking to hire another full-time pediatrician because the numbers, we can't keep up with the demand, even with the providers that we have. And so, and we're looking to attract new therapists to the area. And those people coming in are gonna be looking for services that are available for their children and for their families. And so I think every investment like this that we can make is always a good thing. Again, I know that there's so many needs here, and I appreciate anything that you all are able and willing to do.
Can I ask just a couple budget questions?
Yes.
Obviously, this proposed budget, what you show for 2026, and obviously I'm sure proposal, what is outlined in your plan for 2027, this is only for Caroline's Corner.
Correct.
This is not for the Madison Pediatric.
Right, we are separate
Sure.
entities.
So, for example, I'm just curious, there's the executive director's salary, that's doubling, or is it just kind of part-time now and then it might be full-time, or is there a second position?
No,
there next
currently I
year?
volunteer.
Okay, gotcha.
And so that was with the idea of me starting to receive a paycheck in June, and then that being for
Would
the
be
full
for
year
next
for
year.
2027.
Okay, and then same thing with like the provider, obviously less than $40,000 and a significant increase. So is this for like, you think you may have 3
That's the goal.
for 27?
That's the goal. That at this point may be adjusted.
Sure.
But this was our initial starting
Okay.
budget. And
Okay.
so it's looking like our first therapist isn't likely to start until January because of that extended credentialing process that I spoke about. And we're wanting to make sure that we're sustainable. And I will say, we also have done quite a bit of fundraising already. We have an incredibly active board that is doing great things. We have our first golf scramble on August 14th. So if any of you are golfers or no golfers, we'd love to have you join us at that Sunrise Golf Course. We still have spots available for teams to play. And we're talking about doing an annual giving campaign in memory of Caroline. And she would have turned 13 at the end of August. And so we're going to be asking folks to give $13 a month, or what feels good to them to support this initiative. So did that answer your question?
Yes.
Oh, as far as the therapist, that number, the greatly expanded number that you saw, that was for the 3.
Sure, and that's what I thought, okay, and just curious with the, like, only because you mentioned obviously, some generous funding that's gonna help you renovate the back of the building,
Yes.
which will be where Caroline's Corners Hub will be. So like what's currently listed as rent for this year, are you operating out of a different facility now?
We currently
And this will be
are,
triple next year.
yeah, we're currently in basically the building and fundraising stages. So we have the first services. I mean, I've been offering like classes here and there for kids, like just to engage the community and do some fun things for kids, but we haven't started providing those services yet. So
Once you get that space ready, then.
yes, that's the goal. So any other questions?
Thank you for your courage.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Well, Carolyn.
Yeah, Caroline's my.
Thank you for bringing this service to our community.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your consideration.
Okay. Sarah Wine from Madison Youth Unlimited.
I think somebody else said it earlier, but that was another incredible act to follow. As mentioned, my name's Sarah Wines. I'm a volunteer and board member for Madison Youth Unlimited, and I'm here to talk about the Community Grocery Project, which you actually just heard Beth talk a little bit about. The Madison Community Grocery Project is the flagship program of Madison Youth Unlimited. And we are dedicated to improving the quality of life for Jefferson County youth and their families. And our mission is to build an equitable and sustainable local food system and develop community through education and access to delicious, nutritious foods. We are committed to serving Madison and Jefferson County as a whole with food-centered, community-oriented programs. And today we are asking for support for a new family kitchen series which would be a countywide cooking class. And the series would take place over 4 weeks. And that is based on our successful Family Kitchen Challenge pilot program that you may have been familiar with through MCS elementary schools. So we have piloted a program that is very, very similar, that was funded by a grant from the IDOH, that has vanished. So we have spent that money and we have seen the impact that it makes on our community, and we would like to continue, modify, and improve this program with this new iteration. The Family Kitchen series is designed to educate Jefferson County children and parents through basic cooking skills, with an emphasis on fresh produce and especially local produce when available. Why we would like to do this is that a diet centered around fresh foods helps to prevent chronic disease in children and adults. And loneliness, we know, is a significant contributor to chronic disease and mental illness in our community and other communities at large. And families that cook together spend more time together, eat healthier meals, and create a better sense of connectedness to one another, making healthier families from a mental and physical perspective. This program addresses these contributing factors by encouraging and equipping families to spend time together with one another in the kitchen. Participants will practice cooking skills and learn the basics of healthy nutrition, and be empowered to share these skills with other family members, friends, and the rest of their community over a 4-week program. So in our request, the funds would cover cooking and serving supplies, ingredients, so the actual food itself, educational materials for the families to keep and to use and to share, groceries for participant homework. Yes, they will have homework. They will be asked to make fresh food at home, so this will help to support that food. And the staff hours specifically for this program only, so paying our chef educator, which many of you guys know Gabby from down at Tap Room. She is our chef educator. She's fabulous, and we want to continue to support her and the tremendous work that she's done. And also to support setup and prep and other things like that. But that support is, again, only for the staffing for this project. We expect to have 4 class cohorts, which would reach at least 50 families and probably around 100 children, maybe more, depending on the size of the families. And it's important to remember that cooking skills are not just shared in a home. They're shared into the wider community through churches, through connections with other opportunities to cook and share this knowledge with other individuals. So that impact will have a ripple effect. Those individuals will continue to share that knowledge and those experiences. And there's I think I was lucky enough to grow up with a family that sat around a dinner table and ate together almost every night of the week. Those hours together spent around food and cooking together and then eating together cannot be understated from a cultural and a mental health impact. I know I just ran through that, but in conclusion, I'm here with Madison Youth Unlimited to talk about the Madison Community Grocery Project, to fund a new community cooking series. That's like a tongue twister, based on our successful pilot programs. And if you guys have any questions for me about the Community Grocery Project, Madison Youth Unlimited, or any of our other existing programs, I am happy to answer those as best I can.
How long has, I'm not looking at my forms, but how long has the Madison Youth Unlimited been?
Madison Youth Unlimited has existed, I think, for over 2 decades.
Okay.
This is its newest iteration. We have a completely new board, and are focused on different things. But if you guys are familiar with the pickleball courts by the golf course downtown, that was a past project of Madison Youth Unlimited. And the new iteration, we're focused more on this community grocery project.
Its first project was the skate park. Oh,
yes.
The other, that's where it was started.
Yeah,
With the skate park.
There's a history of success and some very big shoes to fill in this program for sure.
Kind of handed that not-for-profit down to a new group of volunteers.
Right.
With a new focus on what project.
Yeah, and on improving the health for Madison youth and our communities. I think you guys have already heard a ton of people talk about, how important the success and the health of our youth is. We believe that tackling food and how families and children interact with food is a great way to improve those outcomes for children and to build a stronger, better community, no matter where those kids end up. Hopefully they come back to Jefferson County. If not, they take those skills out into the world with them wherever they go. And we really think that food and healthy food networks are vital for a healthy community. You guys might also be familiar with the Farm Stop downtown. We partnered with the Madison schools to help launch that program. We actually wrote the grant for them and continue to help support that through our other programming as well. So we're super proud of that. That is like our shiny badge that we wear around, is that program is marching along and that those kids are doing fantastic work there with our local farm community. So a lot of those groceries that you hear being talked about for this program, a lot of that will come from the Farm Stop to support those families. So fresh local foods are very important to us.
Will you have guidance of a nutritionist?
We will be using the SNAP program guidance already provided by the federal government. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with the SNAP program. SNAP provides nutrition guidance, and they also provide a lot of literature and cookbooks. Some of that will be modified by our staff, including Gabby and other people yet to be named, to suit the needs of our community. But a lot of that nutrition guidance is already available for free from existing resources.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we try to make the best use we can of the free resources that are already available, that have already been provided by the government.
Create the wheel, right?
Yeah, there's no need to revisit nutrition assistance when the federal government has already put a tremendous amount of research and education into that.
Do you have an office?
We don't. We have a part-time executive director who has a lovely antique table that she works on. So that would be a beautiful future vision, I think. I have a scrappy organization.
Yeah.
You guys might also be familiar with our community gardens in different locations around Jefferson County. Those are another fantastic way that we reach our children. We've got a lot of cool things going on, and we want to keep this one going and continue to build it and make it better. What other questions? Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Yes, that's it.
Can we talk about one thing?
No.
Please?
Don't see.
So it's about, maybe coming up with a plan of how to reach the people that apply. So there's been some people reach out to us. There's a lot of nonprofits in the community. Is there an idea for next year how you would rather us campaign that out?
Campaign.
I don't know how to get it out. I don't. You know.
I think when we are just meeting recently, we're Capita, we have more not-for-profits here than most places do. That's a good thing. So it is hard to reach them all. I know when you think of other even competitive grant cycles, like the Community Foundation, for example, the Thanksgiving Circle, obviously they use more than one avenue. If somebody's applied and or maybe received funds the next year, they know when the timing is, so they know when to look for it. But there could be somebody new, a new organization like Caroline's Corner. I know typically it's pretty classic. It's on their Facebook page. It is on their website from deadline of, how to apply and when that deadline is and what has to be submitted, to be able to apply. So I think having it on the website, and or social media, because it's not fair for you guys to have to even brainstorm who's got money in the past, who might want it, and wait, I heard this church might be working on that project, because I think then that's when we open ourselves up for criticism that, we weren't as public to let folks know, we were, launching,
Yeah, you get it
The
on your
decisions.
website, and then when us as the 501, we search, grant possibilities.
Yeah.
Or anything possibilities, it's gonna come up, it's gonna,
Yeah,
algorithm.
I think
Find it.
timing wise, and it's, different, 90 days is pretty standard on, right, Grace probably wrote more grants than I have in this day. So it doesn't have to be that far in advance, that's already classic, I've certainly done them in a 7-day window before, and had to turn around and get them in, but I think for next year, because it's really is impossible to send a certified letter to every not-for-profit in town, when there are some wonderful agencies that seriously are working out of a table in someone's kitchen, not necessarily, oh, I know where the CAC is located. Stop by and drop them off a grant proposal if they want one. I think probably getting it on the county's website, in my opinion, with like a 90-day notice of when we need them due.
Yeah, because it should be our process of finding, finding you.
Yes,
And
yeah.
not you guys finding us.
Yeah. Funding's competitive. Yeah, it's not our fault if somebody didn't know, so,
Right.
yeah, make it available.
We got anything else? For those? Need a motion.
Motion.